Streamline/form drag for a tumble turn by David Trahan. Drag and streamline definition. Form drag refers to the drag caused by the separation of the boundary layers of the surface and the wake that is created as a result of the separation. It is primarily dependent upon the shape of the object, being the swimmer in this scenario. Form drag is created subsequently as a result of the pressure difference between the leading and trailing edges of the body. Form drag is equal to the amount of this pressure difference times the area to which the pressure is applied. To be put in simple terms, when the swimmer pulls their arms through the water, they are propelled by the reacting force of the water, moving them forward, meaning that the additional body parts involved in this process negate the efficiency of the stroke. Due to an increase in unnecessary drag, swimmers address poor form drag by attempting to become more streamlined. Being one of the most basic functions within swimming, streamlining refers to one's ability to reduce drag within the water to maintain their speed. A complete description for an individual to be completely streamlined would include arms are completely flexed at the shoulders and extended at the elbows and wrist. Upper arms are in contact with the side of the head. One hand is on top of the other. The head is positioned so that the swimmer is looking down. Feet are together and ankles are plantar flexed, as evidenced by the following extract. What a tumble turn is used for. The tumble turn is an integral part of any multi-lap race, giving swimmers an opportunity to gain a competitive edge over their opponents. The tumble turn gives the swimmer a more efficient way to change direction once they have finished a lap. To perform a tumble turn, the swimmer must conduct in 5 key movements, being approach, rotation, push-off, underwater swimming, and stroke resumption. The tumble turn is evidently important, with research revealing that accumulated duration of turns represented at least 19% of the total race time in long races and up to 44% in short races, displaying how crucial it is. Approach. For the first stage of the tumble turn, we're going to view the approach. The approach refers to the individuals proceeding to the wall before the tumble turn. For this exercise, we used freestyle as the example, with backstroke also being an option. Swimmers look to reduce form drag during this period in order to increase their speed. Body position within the water. For the starting position of the approach, it is assumed that the swimmer is in a horizontal position. It is crucial for the swimmer to be fully aligned within the water, as it reduces the drag on the swimmer, resulting in a more effective and efficient stroke. For this, your body should lie on top of the water during the duration of the lap. For this, one arm should be fully extended forward, in line with both head, shoulder, hip, legs, and ankle. During this, your feet should be plantar flexed in order to increase the surface area of your foot to make your kicks more powerful and effective. During this stage, it is crucial for swimmers to have the full range of motion within their muscles and joints, as if they are tight in certain aspects, they will be unable to get themselves within a streamlined position due to not having the mobility. Kicking. Kicking is an essential part of the approach to a tumble turn, as it provides the swimmer with an increase in speed. Kicking occurs from the hips and not the knees. Kicking provides the swimmer with stability, balancing out the swimmer due to being on top of the water, similar to being propelled like a boat. Arm recovery. Arm recovery refers to the arm moving out of the water and preparing to re-enter the water to prepare for a new stroke. The purpose of the arm recovery is to get it in position for the next stroke with as little disruption of alignment as possible. During this period, the arm should be moving forward, keeping elbows high, preparing for hand entry within the water. The arm should enter the water at around 45 degrees to align the body, preparing for the next stages of the approach. Hand entry. Hand entry refers to the hand entering the water to start the propulsion phase of the stroke. The hand during this stage should enter the water first with the fingertips. All fingers should be connected to each other, creating a paddle within your hands. The fingers should be fully flexed to improve the swimmer's ability to propel themselves through the water. Reach. The reaching phase of the approach refers to the swimmer's ability to fully extend their arms through the water in order to maximize their stroke through a full range of motion. As the swimmer reaches, their arm should be fully extended, realigning back into the horizontal position. The hands during this stage of the movement should be slightly angled down to allow the water to catch it in order to propel the swimmer through the water. Down sweep. The down sweep refers to the swimmer pulling their arms down to prepare themselves for the catch stage of the approach. The down sweep is started by the flexing of the wrist and the slightly angled hand moving downwards. During this stage, the hand, forearm, and upper arm should all be aligned, preparing for the catch part. Catch. The catch stage of the approach refers to the swimmer catching the water in order to propel themselves forward. The catch stage sees the swimmer preparing to rip their arm through the water to propel themselves forward in order to displace the water behind them. For this movement, the arm takes the shape of the image to the right. In-sweep. The in-sweep movement in freestyle swimming is an essential component of the stroke that allows swimmers to generate propulsion and maintain a streamlined position. During the sweep, the swimmer's arm moves inwards towards the centre of the body, beginning at the hip and extending towards the midline of the chest. As the hand moves inwards, the elbow should remain high and the forearm should remain perpendicular to the body, creating a paddle-like shape that catches and pushes water backwards. The in-sweep should be executed smoothly and efficiently, with the swimmer focusing on generating power through their lats and pecs rather than just their arm muscles. Proper execution of the in-sweep can significantly improve a swimmer's speed and efficiency in the water. Upsweep. The upsweep stage of the arm alludes to the swimmer's upward sweep of the hand and arm, ripping through the water in order to reach the surface of the water. During this phase, the arm continues until reaching the thigh before getting ready for the recovery stroke. The arm during this period may slightly extend during the upsweep due to the pressure against the water. The upsweep concludes once the hand reaches the front of the thigh. Distance from the wall. To conclude the approach stage of the tumble turn, the swimmer must stop at an adequate length in order to give themselves the necessary room in order to complete the turn. For the majority of people, they will be around 1 metre to 1.5 metres away from the wall in order to start the turn. This step of the process is crucial, as if the swimmer gets too close to the wall, it impacts their ability to push off, stereotypically with them pushing themselves downwards due to the angle. Or in comparison, if they are not close enough to the wall, they won't gain the ability to push off the wall, killing their momentum. Rotation. The rotation phase of the tumble turn refers to the swimmers turning from their stomach facing the ground up until the stomach faces the sky. To initiate this phase, the swimmer must tuck their head into their chest and in sync tuck their knees into their chest, creating a ball-like shape. This position lowers the swimmer's levers, making it easier to turn through the water. The position leaves the swimmer lying upside down in the water, as evidenced by the image first to the right, with the swimmer then needing to rotate their arms to create the momentum to rotate them fully to complete the 180-degree turn, with the swimmer having their stomach facing the sky. Wall contact and push off. The next phase of the tumble turn is the wall contact and push off. Wall contact refers to where the swimmer connects with the wall in order to push off and continue the momentum created through the approach. When making contact with the wall, the swimmer must kick out and make contact with the wall, applying force through the wall and then shifting this force in the opposite direction. In this pushing off, the swimmer's legs should be bent and then explode out to be fully extended to generate power and continue the momentum created by the swimmer in the approach. When pushing off, the swimmer needs to aim for the T part of the wall, and if not, they risk taking off at the wrong angle, increasing form drag as a result, as the swimmer will stay under the water for an increased period of time. The angle the swimmer should take off from should be 180 degrees in the opposite direction. When doing this, feet should be hip to shoulder width apart, and the swimmer should only use the balls of their feet when making contact. Underwater swimming and stroke resumption. The next stage of the tumble turn is underwater swimming and stroke resumption. This stage of the tumble turn sees the swimmer rotate their body from their stomach facing the sky back to their stomach facing the ground again. This occurs through the angle of the shoulder and the rotation of the hips, whilst using the momentum from the propulsion from the previous stage of the turn. Once on their stomach, back into their streamline position, the swimmer will bring their legs together and flex their feet together, making them pointy, and do dolphin kicks to continue the momentum before resurfacing back into their freestyle. Drill 1. The first drill to improve the tumble turn is to progress the movement of the turn by the use of 2 kickboards. For this to work, the swimmer must lay horizontally within the water, with their arms fully extended, creating a T-like pose within the water. The next part of the movement sees the swimmer tuck their head into their chest, and then follow this by bringing their knees into their chest, creating a tuck-like position. This will create the turning movement as a result from the driving of the knees through the water and the swimmer's shoulder mobility. This improves swimmers' tumble turns by getting them to relate to the movement and preparing them to implement them when participating in the whole action of a tumble turn. Drill 2. Parachute. The next drill to improve the tumble turn is to use a parachute within the water to regress the movement to make it more difficult. The parachute achieves this as it creates more drag within the water, making the swimmer's stroke less efficient, with the swimmer needing to exert more power and energy to make up for drag. The parachute particularly improves the approach phase of the tumble turn due to the increased drag. The parachute during the actual turning stages of the tumble turn is pretty inefficient due to the parachute not being dragged due to the loss of tension of the rope. However, the tension picks back up during the push-off stage, regressing the movement by making it more difficult. This stage of the movement reinforces to the swimmer to push off the wall as hard as possible to continue the momentum of the movement, as the tension of the parachute will kick back in and increase difficulty of the task again. The third and final drill to improve the tumble turn is to stretch. Stretching is critical within the tumble turn, as the swimmer, to obtain a proper streamline position in the water, needs the necessary range of motion within both their muscles and joints in order to complete the movements. For example, individuals with tight upper back and lack of range of motion within the shoulders are unable to fully extend their arms above their heads in order to create a more streamlined position. This stretch on the screen assists the swimmer's mobility in the upper back muscles and shoulder mobility. Due to the stretching, this allows the swimmer to get in the correct streamlined position, helping the swimmer during the underwater swimming and push-off stages of the tumble turn.